Hello class, this is Steve Rothenberg and I'm going to go through the first part of the lab work for week 4. The second assignment, there's already 2 videos created by another instructor and I sent links to those out to those people, to those of you who have submitted that assignment, so you probably already have that. What we don't have is a video for the first assignment, which is on page WD, page 260. We're on page 259 right now because I want to show you one thing before we start the chapter summary, which I've mentioned earlier in an email and I think in a short video that I asked you to watch. We're going to use this actually to work the problem, even if you had never read the book, which I know most of you have, but some of you perhaps dive right into the assignment without reading. I mentioned that when you go into the chapter summary, you end up reading every one of these skills which you'll need. You end up reading the chapter anyway. So let's see how we do it. We'll demonstrate this method and we'll solve the first lab assignment all at the same time. So let's look at the assignment. First of all, notice that they show you what the after picture looks like. This is what the modified table is going to look like, and we have to start with a file that we get from DocSharing and turn it into this. So as you might imagine, the file we start out with in DocSharing is going to be pretty bare and need a lot of attention, a lot of modification. So let's open it. We need to find week 4. We see that there's actually 2 documents for week 4. This image, this picture, we're going to use in the second of the 2 assignments, but right now we want to open this. So I'll click Open. Okay, doesn't look like much. Let's click Enable Editing so we can actually work on it. So we notice that this is a table, and we can tell because the Table tab, Table Tools tab up here has appeared with 2 individual subtabs, one called Design and the other called Layout. With these 2 tabs, we can just about do anything we want to the table itself. Right now you see that there's a blinking cursor here. That's because I'm selected on the table. If I click away from the table, like down here, you notice that the Table tab goes away because right now I'm not on a table. I'm just in a regular Word document, just typing away if I wanted to type. Of course, we don't want to do that. We want to be focused on the table. So I'm going to click on the table again. There we go. And you notice how these 2 things appear. That's a start. This is the first step. Oops, I unclicked the table. Let's click it again. There we go. Let's go back to the book. Okay, step 1. We have to turn the page. We're on page 262. Show grid lines. Well, maybe you don't know how to show grid lines. So let's go back to the chapter summary, see if we can find something that talks about grid lines. We have to go back to page 259. And I see item number 24, show grid lines. So it's on page WD 239. So we go to WD 239. Probably each of these sections is about no more than a page long. In fact, sometimes they're on the same page. So let's go down to, it took us to 238. That was the problem. Let's go over 1 page to 239, and here we are. Show grid lines. Display the table, position the insertion point, display the table's to layout. We've already seen that. Then there must be a button called View Table Grid Lines. So let's check it out. Go to here. I want to select View Grid Lines. There we go. Click. All right. So now we have something that looks more like a table. So again, I didn't know anything about grid lines, but now I do. Let's go on to the next step. And we'll go back to WD 261. You notice that we do jump around a lot, but you get pretty good at that after a while. And this is what you really need to do to go step by step. Let's go on to the next step. Okay, delete the blank column between the 3rd and 4th quarter columns. So are there some blank columns? Well, here's one blank column that we want to get rid of this column. If we had no idea how to do that, we would go to the textbook. We would go to the chapter summary, which is a couple of pages back. Let's see how we delete columns. 31, or section 31, page WD 247, how to delete a column. 247. For some reason, it always takes us to like the page right before, so we have to click Advance Page to delete a column. Okay, so you have to you have to essentially get the table to be displayed and then put your cursor in the column that you want to be deleted and then click delete. Okay, there's a delete button. So this sounds pretty simple. Let's go back to the assignment. Here we go. I'm going to click in here. Okay, I'm going to click one of these. Let's click the layout and see if there's a delete button. Sure enough, there is. And let's see what the options are. You can delete rows, columns, cells, or the entire table. Well, we want to be careful about what we're deleting, so let's select the down arrow, which will give us a choice. Delete cells, delete columns. There it is. We delete that, and boom, it's gone. Okay, so now we know how to do that. I believe the next step is, let's see what the next step is. Let's go back to WD, and I think by now you're getting the idea about how this works. So let's go to the next step. Get the page to turn. Use the distribute rows command to evenly space all the rows in the table. Distribute rows. Okay, I don't know what distribute rows is, so let's go WD 259 to get the distribute rows. So let's see who can get it first. Well, it's right here. 37, distribute rows. You know, we have to do some distributing of columns too, so we might as well go to page WD 250 and read up on how to do both of them. To distribute columns and then distribute rows. Okay, so this is essentially saying I want to make all the columns the same width and I want to make all the rows the same width regardless of what information is in there. So that's what this is essentially doing, these two steps. So let's see how we distribute rows. Okay. Again, we're going to go to the Table Tools Layout tab, as you might have expected. I think that they want us to distribute all the rows evenly, but I have to go back to look. So now that I know how to distribute rows, we can remember what we have to do and do it. Okay, distribute all rows. Okay, so all rows. So I got to select the table, get my Layout tab going, and then I'm going to see something that says here are the two items, distribute columns and distribute rows. I have the whole table selected. Let's see what happens when I click on distribute columns. Okay, so you see it made an adjustment. Now all the columns are the same width. I should be able to do this for the rows, but let's make sure that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go back to the textbook. Distribute all the rows and distribute columns to make the first, second, third, and fourth quarter and total columns evenly spaced. Well, I think that's what we did. Actually, we included the whole table, so if you only wanted to do the columns that they said to do as far as distributing, you would have to select them independently like that, and then you would click the distribute columns. So I actually made a small mistake, so that we didn't want to do all the rows, all the columns, just these columns, but we did want to do all the rows, and that's what we did. Change the width of the first, second, third, and fourth quarter total columns to 1 inch. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Of course, I know how to do this, or actually, I don't know how to do everything, but I know how to do this for sure. Some of the stuff I have to remind myself because I don't use it that often. Let's go back to find out where we can adjust column widths if you had no idea how to do it. Again, I'm going to go here, I'm going to display all of these, and I'm just going to go through from 1 down to until I find what I'm looking for. So here we are, number 25, section 25, page WD 240, changing column width. Let's go to WD 240, and like I've said, by now I think you get the idea of how I'm going back and forth to the chapter summary, and then to the text itself. Of course, we have to go one more page here, so I'm going to find exactly how to change the column width. And if I can do it with one column, I can do it with many. So we see that there's an area where they have the width and the height in inches. I want to change the column widths. So I'll select the column. I'll go to this area here. I already have it selected. I'm on the Table Tools Layout tab. This upper one here is table row height, and this one should be table column width. So I need to change it to 1 inch. Well, you see right now it's 0.99 inches. So if I just go like this and I type 1.0 and hit enter, then it's changed everything. However, I actually did make a little mistake. You notice that it only changed the column width for column 1. So let's undo this by clicking the undo button. Now we're going to select the entire table, and I can just click that icon up here, that plus sign. Now the whole table is selected. Now I can go here and type 1.0, hit enter, and it'll adjust the column width of every column. So let's go back again. You want to go to page WD. Get back to the assignment. All right, so that was step 5. Step 6, use the formula button. Now they tell you where it is. In fact, almost everything is going to be on the Table Tools Layout tab in the Data group. To place totals in the bottom row for the first, second, third. So we want to put totals right down here. So you can probably bet we're going to select this area. And you could probably bet that we're going to find something up here that has to do with totals. And it's going to be in the data group. And it said use the formula command. So here we are. We're getting pretty close here. So let's click formula, see what it asks us. It's giving us equals the sum of above. So it gave us the total here, added up all these. Didn't give us the totals here yet. So let's select these and we'll click formula again. And then it gave us this one. So we're making progress, but now sometimes you can't find exactly what you're looking for. And if that's the case, it could be that this command was covered in an earlier chapter, because we're in chapter 4 now, and it could be in the Word chapter summary from previous chapters. Another way that you can check out how to use the formula button is to look into the index. Well, it turns out that this is one of the times when the information that we're being asked to, or the skill we're being asked to present, is not contained in the chapter itself. I'll show you how to locate it later on, but right now I'll just show you how to solve this part of the problem. We essentially want to total the numbers above, which is why we get the word above. So if I click my cursor in the cell I want the total in, and I click formula, and then I say, okay, yes, I want the sum of what's above, and I click OK, I will get the number I want. So I'll do that here, and click formula, above, that's fine. Now I need some totals over here. Well, I'm going to use formula again, but this time it's going to realize that the numbers that needs to be added are on the left. So I click left, go down here, do it again. Oops, I don't want above. This time it has to be left. So let's see. Oh, okay, so we have to change it to left. Right now it thinks I want to total the number above it. So it defaults to thinking it's going to total above, but we need to change this to left. There we go. So this number is the total of these numbers. And now I'm going to have to be careful about changing that above to left. Do the same thing here. And lastly, I can now actually I can add up the numbers above it, or I can add up the numbers to the left of it. Either one's going to give me the same answer because they're all comprised of the same numbers. So the grand total essentially is 72,000. Whether you add up the individual quarters or whether you add up the line items in supplies, maintenance, advertising, and so forth. So let's go on. Go back to the book. Go back to the assignment, WD 262. Great. So we've done 6 and 7. 8, add a row to the top of the table, and then merge all cells in the first row, and then enter some information, and then center the title. So this is a whole bunch of steps. Let's see how we add a row to the top of the table. Well, we go back to the chapter summary and see if there's something about adding a row. Okay, adding a row. Well, they don't go into that detail here either, and it could be in an earlier chapter, but I'll show you how to do it. If we want to insert a row, we essentially click on that row. We click on the row, and then we go up to this rows and columns area, and we either want to insert the row, let's see, add a new row directly below the selected row. Well, we actually want to insert it above, so we're going to click this, and there's our new row. It says that we need to merge the cells. Notice that we have individual columns, but we want these little divider lines. I'm talking about these. We want them to disappear. So let's select all of this, and we want to click Merge Cells, and I'll show you in a second what will happen. Notice that all those lines have gone away, and now we have one smooth cell all the way across. This, by the way, you could have found in the chapter summary. The next thing is that we want to key in the title, and let's see what we want to key in here. That is Whitcomb Services. So I'm just going to copy this. It says Control C. Now I've copied it, and now I can actually put it. Click in here, and I'm going to click Paste. And to do that, I go to the Home tab and click Paste. But notice how it's not centered. So what I need to do is I need to select that, and I need to hit the Center button, and now it's centered. I have an extra comma in there. So, all right. So the next step is split the cell in the first row into 2 rows. Let's see if there's something about splitting rows. Well, you can split cells, so that's pretty close. Let's see if there's anything about splitting rows. Let's see what they want to tell us about splitting cells. WD 249, so I'll key in to split cells. Okay, well, there's a split cells option on a ribbon that we already know about, so let's select the table. We'll select layout, and we see a split cells. Well, which cell do we want to split? We actually only want to split this one, the top one, because we need to make a title and a subtitle. So let's click that. We want only one column, but we want 2 rows. So there we go. And there was our second row. And now I believe we need to key in. What do we need to key in? WD 262. We need to key in expenses breakdown. Expenses breakdown. Okay, oops, spell it right. Great. So we're on our way. Let's see what else there is to do. Now it's a matter of formatting. Now we want to shade the first row orange, accent 6, darker 25. Okay, remember that. Orange, accent 6, darker 25. So we go to the first row, we select it. Just the first row. There it is. Go to the shading, which is here. Orange, accent 6, lighter, 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 darker, 25%. I think that's the one. Okay, that's pretty close, if not exact. And then the other one was shade the second row orange, accent 6, lighter 40. So it's going to be slightly lighter. Let's go back to it. Select the row. There we go. Let's choose the shading, orange, lighter. It's going to be this one probably. It's lighter 80, lighter 40. There we go. Okay, so now we have the 2 heading and subheading, or title and subtitle lines shaded. Let's go back. Add a 1-point orange, accent 6, darker 50 border to all the cells in the table. So by this time, let's go back just again to prove the point. We see somehow we need to learn about borders and shading. So let's see. Shade a table cell. Okay, that might be interesting. Border a table. Let's see what this is supposed to look like. Could we have border a table, shade a table cell? I think we want to border. Let's go back. WD a border to all the cells in the table. So we want to create a border for the entire table. Let's start from this point again, and let's create borders that are throughout all the cells. So let's select all the cells. Let's select borders and shading. Let's select all. And we'll select color. And we'll choose this one. I don't remember which exactly it was, but we'll choose that. So now we've got border around every cell that's a certain color, and that's that orange. So that's that step. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's go on to continue on now. We're just formatting the table. We're mostly done with the work. Hide the grid lines. Well, we can easily hide the grid lines. If we knew how to turn them on, we can certainly turn them off. Let's select the table again, so we get the layout tab, and then we'll undo grid lines. So that cleans up the table a little bit. Looks like I went back a little too far, so I need to shade this one. Let's do a little shading here. And this will be on the Home tab. Shading. We'll choose that. Okay. Let's go back and look at the last couple of changes. Change the height of the row containing the quarter headings to 0.01 inch. Change the height of the row containing the quarter headings. Change the alignment of these headings to align top center. Okay, row 3. We want to change row 3 to 0.01 inches. Let's do that. Here is row 3. Let's select it. Let's change, click on layout. Let's change this to 0.03. Hit enter. There we go. Okay, so we've changed it. Let's go back and see what we need to do next. Change the alignment of the headings to align top center. Okay, so let's select the headings. Let's select an alignment. Let's go to the layout tab. Now here are the different alignments. Alignment, top, center. There we go. So that's done. You might not have noticed the change, but if the row height was larger, it would have moved all of the titles up to the top of the row. Next, change the alignment of cells in the first column to the left of all the dollar sign amounts to align left center. Okay, so what it's saying is all the cells in the first column to the left of all the dollar amounts to align left center. Change the alignment of the cells in the first column. Here's the first column. Oh, I think we left out a step where we were supposed to assign dollar signs. The total should be formatted to display dollar signs and cents. Let's do that step. We'll just select this. So the way that we want to format these is we actually have to select each one, and we could have done this when we created the totals, but we didn't. So let's go into the formula. The formula is okay, but we need to choose number format here. So I'm going to choose something that has a dollar sign in it. Let's find something with a dollar sign in it. This one here. Okay, and we'll click OK. And notice it put the dollar sign. We'll do the same here. Formula. Choose one with a dollar sign. Click OK. And we'll do this for each of these. I'm highlighting them, so I'm selecting them. Click Formula. And I think you get the idea, so I can, oops, that's not the right one. And I'll just do this one, and I'll let you take care of all the other ones. Remember, you could have done this when we first entered the formulas. Okay, so moving on, we're getting very close to the end now. Okay. So we did 13. We want to change the height of all expense rows. Well, we know how to change row heights now, but we've done that before. We know how to change the alignment of cells. We know how to change the alignment of the cents containing dollar amounts to align right center. So we need to select cells containing dollar amounts to align right center. So that means we want to select all of these and change the alignment to align right. Right center, it's probably align center right. There we go. Align center right. Okay, that we just did. Okay, then center the entire table across. How do we do that? We select the table, go to the table layout, and click, we'll do align center, and you notice that moves it over. We could also have right-clicked here, and we could have clicked, found cell, we could have done the same thing here. So, this is the way we want it to look, and now we're done. Going back over it, we wanted to sort the rows containing the expenses. One more thing, sort the rows. How do we sort the rows? Well, we need to click on the table, and we want to sort the rows containing the expenses. So right now we have supplies, maintenance, advertising. This is S, M, then A, then S. So these aren't sorted at all. So what we're going to do, let's select the entire table. Let's select Sort. Sort by column 1. no header row because we've selected just the rows we want. Click OK, and now I've got advertising, maintenance, rent, salaries, and supplies. These are now in alphabetical order. Notice that the totals haven't changed. It's just that the numbers that make up the totals and their order have changed. So this concludes it. And by the way, we could have looked at the chapter summary as you might have expected, and we would have found a section on how to sort a table right here. So, bottom line, this was a pretty long view of how to do this assignment, but I tried to show you how you can use the chapter summary and the other resources, taking it step by step. If it takes you an hour or an hour and a half to do initially, it'll become much quicker as you get used to turning back between the chapter summary and the assignment itself and the pages in the chapter, because that can be a little hectic in the beginning, but after a while you can get pretty quick at it. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful to you, and have a great rest of the afternoon.